Just one wrong choice of headstone color can lead to conflict among family members and make it difficult to attract or hold on to wealth, yet most families have no idea. In Feng Shui, a headstone serves as a stable energy connection between the spiritual resting place of our ancestors and the world of the living where their descendants continue to thrive. Every headstone, especially its color, carries a specific energetic frequency that continuously influences the family's fortune over time. When the right color is chosen, the energy flows in harmony. This creates a peaceful household, stable finances, and unity among generations. But if the wrong color is used, the clashing energy does not cause problems right away. Instead, it gradually builds up. At first, it may show up as minor issues that are hard to trace. But over time, family disagreements become more noticeable, money becomes harder to keep, and the bond between generations starts to fade. That is why, in this video, I will show you exactly which headstone colors can lead to family discord, explain why they create conflict, and most importantly, how to fix it by realigning the energy flow without needing to tear anything down or make expensive changes. Before we get into the first part, I invite you to leave a comment with a positive affirmation, a way to open the flow of abundance in your life right now. I keep peace within my family so that wealth and blessings will stay with us for a long time. All right, have you left your comment yet? If so, let me now reveal the headstone colors that deserve our special attention, the ones that may quietly lead to conflict, disharmony within the family, and even weaken the good fortune of future generations. Right now, let us go through each color in detail so you can make timely adjustments and restore harmony for your family. The first color, deep red. Deep red stone is one of the more commonly used headstone colors, as it gives off a sense of strength, elegance, and easily makes an impression of formality. However, when viewed from a Feng Shui perspective, what matters most is the energy quality that the color brings and how well it aligns with the spiritual environment. A headstone is meant to be a place of long-lasting stillness and stability. In contrast, deep red is a strong, energetic color. It carries a forceful energy that can feel heavy or intense. This mismatch may not cause immediate issues, but over time, it creates a subtle imbalance that lingers and affects the overall energy field around the gravesite. When strong energy remains in a space meant to be calm, the energy flow cannot fully relax. This makes it harder for the spiritual energy to settle, and that can indirectly influence the vitality and harmony of the living family. This is not about anything mystical. The impact shows up in real ways. The home environment may feel tense, long-term agreement may be harder to reach, and family relationships can start to feel stiff and inflexible. While deep red is not the only cause of discord, it becomes a hidden factor that turns small differences into lasting conflict if left unchecked. In terms of wealth and finances, deep red stone tends to promote movement rather than stillness. This type of energy is suitable for spaces that need activation, but it is not ideal for places meant to store and nurture energy. When this active energy dominates over time, money in the household becomes harder to retain. You may experience unexpected spending or struggle to maintain stability in long-term financial plans. This does not necessarily mean a loss of wealth, but more often shows up as earning but not keeping. Families with balanced energy usually achieve the same level of financial stability with less effort. To balance out the effect of deep red stone, you do not need to do anything complicated or ceremonial. What matters is adding neutral elements to tone down the intensity of the red. Start with simple things like using light gray, ivory white, or soft earthy yellow for the engraved lettering, combined with softer, more harmonious tones around the edges or the background. Also, the area around the headstone should be kept open and have a moderate amount of natural light. Avoid a dark or overly enclosed space, as this can increase the pressure of the already strong energy. When color, lighting, and layout are balanced, the energy of deep red stone will gradually harmonize, helping the memorial space feel more peaceful. This, in turn, supports long-term family harmony and stable finances in a practical and sustainable way. The second color, bright green. Bright green stone is also a popular choice in headstone design, because it gives off a clean, clear look and stands out easily. In many cases, green symbolizes life and growth, so some families feel that using this color makes the site feel more in tune with nature. However, when viewed through the lens of Feng Shui, especially in spiritual spaces, colors are not judged by their symbolic meanings. They are evaluated based on the energy they produce and how well they suit long-term use. A headstone is a structure meant to last, with little change over time. Therefore, it needs a stable and grounded energy field around it. Bright green, on the other hand, is a color associated with movement and ongoing growth. Without proper moderation, this can lead to an energetic mismatch. When a dynamic color is placed in a space that requires stillness, the energy flow struggles to maintain long-term balance. This shows up as a lack of consistency in the surrounding environment. In family life, this imbalance often shows as difficulty maintaining rhythm or routine. Small changes keep happening repeatedly, making it hard for the household to stay in sync. Over time, this wears down the family's sense of stability, caused by a base energy field that cannot hold balance for the long term. In terms of money matters, bright green tends to carry the energy of starting and expanding. This is great for launching new things or pushing for growth. But when this energy is active non-stop in a space meant for saving and building, it can reduce the family's ability to concentrate and hold on to financial resources. Rather than supporting sustainability, this kind of energy tends to spread out. Resources are used to keep up with constant change, instead of strengthening the foundation. The result is not a lack of opportunities, but rather a lack of consistency in long-term financial plans. Savings may grow slowly or become unstable. To adjust for bright green stone, focus on reducing its movement and increasing stability, not removing the color entirely. An effective approach is to add neutral tones into the overall design of the headstone. Pay special attention to areas that control visual impact, such as the lettering, edges, or background. These softer tones help calm the energy of bright green and reduce its effect on the energy field. At the same time, the area around the headstone should be kept tidy. Avoid overgrowth of greenery, which can scatter the energy even more. When color and layout are properly balanced, the energy of bright green stone will settle into a more stable state, more fitting for a lasting memorial space, and more supportive of ongoing harmony and financial steadiness for the family. The third color, solid black. Solid black stone is one of the most common materials used for headstones, thanks to its high durability, weather resistance, and dignified appearance. Most people associate black with seriousness and calm, which seems fitting for a memorial space. However, from a Feng Shui viewpoint, black must be considered more carefully, especially in terms of its density and long-term energy effects. Black is a color that absorbs light heavily and reflects very little. When used in large amounts, it can create a heavy, closed-off feeling. In spiritual spaces, while stillness is important, some degree of energy flow is still needed. If solid black is used too much, it can make the energy field overly dense, cutting off circulation and balance. Solid black stone is favored in headstone design because of its strength, resistance to wear, and longevity under extreme weather. Visually, black gives a unified, controlled appearance, making it easier to design. But in Feng Shui, color is evaluated based on how it absorbs, reflects, and distributes energy throughout a space. Because solid black absorbs so much light and reflects very little, over many years it can create a highly concentrated and stagnant energy field. This is not necessarily harmful, but it disrupts the natural regulation of energy in the environment. In a family setting, this often shows as difficulty in refreshing or renewing relationships. Daily life becomes repetitive, with little adjustment over time. The lack of energy flow does not cause open conflict, but it weakens emotional connection. Relationships may become isolated, with each person moving in their own direction, lacking a shared center. This results from an energy field that holds too tightly without enough circulation. Financially, solid black stone creates an energy that is more suited to preservation than expansion. It supports caution and minimizes big risks, but also slows down adaptability. If this continues for too long, financial decisions tend to favor keeping things as they are, rather than adjusting to new opportunities. In this situation, money flow does not show major swings, but also lacks steady growth. It is not a decline, but rather a kind of stalled stability, where nothing moves forward unless the energy is rebalanced. With solid black stone, the key to adjustment is not in changing the color or the surrounding space, but in how the surface is finished. A surface that is too glossy or overly smooth holds energy too tightly, making it hard to release. Instead, aim for a moderately matte finish that does not reflect deeply. The edges and corners of the headstone should be slightly rounded, not sharply cut or perfectly square. This helps avoid energy getting stuck at the endpoints. When the surface, edges, and finish are properly softened, the closed energy of solid black stone will ease up. This creates a smoother energy flow, supporting long-term family harmony and steady financial movement over time. Now that we have looked closely at the colors to be cautious with and learned how to balance them to avoid shifting the family's energy off track, many people may start wondering, so what are the colors that do support long-term harmony and bring stable fortune to the family? Let us continue and explore the specific colors that are considered suitable. The first color, gray. Gray is a balanced and steady choice for headstones. It does not make a bold first impression, nor does it trigger strong emotional reactions. This very quality makes gray ideal for spaces meant to last a long time and experience minimal change. A headstone is something that can remain for many years, even across generations, and in that case, the goal is not to stand out, but to avoid feeling out of place over time. Gray works well for this because it maintains a consistent appearance. It is not so bright as to be glaring, nor so dark as to feel heavy. This neutrality helps the memorial space stay visually calm, without creating sharp contrasts that may affect the feelings of family members when they visit. In everyday family life, foundational elements tend to influence us in subtle ways. Gray does not stir up emotions or create opposing reactions. This helps minimize indirect stress that can wear people down, especially when they are already dealing with life's complications. When the environment itself does not add invisible pressure, relationships within the family tend to flow more gently. Decisions are often made with greater care and patience. The effect is not instant, but over time, gray becomes a quiet support helping the household stay steady and less vulnerable to small, repeated disruptions. When it comes to money and possessions, gray does not suggest fast expansion or sudden shifts. Instead, it fits a gradual, well-paced approach to growth. In an environment that does not trigger emotional highs or lows, people are more cautious with spending and more focused on long-term planning. This consistency helps the family's finances move along a reliable path, avoiding the roller coaster of ups and downs. When a gray headstone is placed within a harmonious layout, it contributes to a long-term sense of stability, helping the family maintain a strong foundation and pass that sense of peace down to future generations. The second color, ivory white. Ivory white is not usually the first choice for headstones, as it does not create a strong visual impact at first glance. But that is precisely why this color works well for memorial spaces which call for subtlety and a sense of continuity. Ivory white is not too bright to feel flashy, nor too dark to weigh down the overall tone. When placed within a gravesite, it blends naturally with the surroundings, even as the landscape shifts over time. What matters is that ivory white does not draw attention to itself. It helps focus the visitor's attention on the meaning of remembrance, which is the true role of a headstone. In family life, elements that do not create pressure often guide behavior in a natural way. Ivory white creates a clean, clear atmosphere, which makes it easier for people to receive the space without tension or resistance. When the environment feels visually comfortable, people tend to think and communicate in a slower, more orderly manner. This is especially important in multi-generational households, where differing opinions are hard to avoid. Ivory white does not highlight those differences, nor does it heighten emotional reactions. As a result, it helps reduce the risk of small issues turning into prolonged conflict. From a financial standpoint, ivory white supports a lifestyle of planning and control. In a setting that does not stir up emotional disruption, people tend to make more deliberate decisions and avoid impulsive choices. When the environment does not create pressure to change or chase after trends, families can focus on maintaining what they already have. This means money is spent with clear intention, budgets stay within limits, and goals are pursued step by step. This approach suits families that value stability and want to preserve their achievements for the next generation. Another advantage of ivory white is its ability to adapt easily to various design styles without needing complicated adjustments. Whether the gravesite is simple or elaborate, this color maintains consistency and avoids clashing tones. The result is a neat, orderly memorial space that feels cohesive. When all design elements are placed appropriately and do not compete with each other, the environment will naturally support peace in the family and promote a well-managed approach to wealth and legacy. That is why ivory white is often seen as a fitting choice for families who value peace of mind and generational continuity. The third color, light earthy yellow. Light earthy yellow is a color that can exist without needing to constantly adapt. Outdoors, where a headstone is exposed to sun, rain, and changing scenery, this color resists visual distortion over time. It does not become overly bright under strong sunlight, nor does it turn too dark on cloudy days. This helps the headstone maintain a consistent appearance, without quickly looking worn or out of place in its surroundings. This consistency is important because the fewer changes a memorial structure undergoes, the easier it is for future generations to accept it as part of their emotional landscape. From a practical standpoint, light earthy yellow does not require frequent upkeep. It does not need to be brightened to look good, nor does it force changes to nearby elements to avoid clashing. When a color does not place demands on everything around it, the whole environment operates more naturally. This keeps the gravesite neat and orderly without needing constant updates. This simplicity of upkeep makes the memorial space more accessible and easier to accept across generations. In family life, elements that stay still often have a stronger impact than those that constantly move. Light earthy yellow does not push people toward change or reaction. Instead, it acts as a pause in awareness, helping people slow down and reflect. When we are not caught up in comparing or judging, we tend to approach problems with a calmer, more grounded mindset. This makes us more patient, thoughtful, and realistic in the way we handle differences. It greatly reduces the chance of minor disagreements snowballing into major conflicts, and it helps preserve a familiar, steady rhythm in our relationships, one that supports long-term peace and emotional connection within the family. In the context of managing wealth and long-term success, light earthy yellow suits a mindset centered on preservation, stability, and intentional growth. Rather than chasing after constant change, when the surroundings do not push us toward upgrading or reinventing things unnecessarily, people tend to focus more on making the most of what they already have, using their existing resources with clarity and purpose. As a result, financial decisions come from a place of balance, not from a fear of missing out or pressure to follow trends. Life becomes more manageable, better organized, and easier to control. This allows the family to maintain order, protect what they have built, and enjoy a sense of lasting security and peace. It becomes clear that choosing a headstone color is not just a matter of aesthetics, but a thoughtful decision based on harmony and placement. Each color has its own energy and qualities, and when chosen appropriately and positioned within a balanced layout, it helps keep the memorial space neat, dignified, and peacefully integrated with its surroundings, not just today, but for generations to come. On the flip side, if color choices are made without careful thought, even the smallest imbalances can gradually accumulate. Over time, they may begin to influence family harmony and affect how future generations connect with their roots and sustain their lives. What matters most is that there is no need to follow fleeting trends or rush into dramatic changes. With a clear understanding of color energy, a thoughtful view of the whole setting, and just the right amount of adjustment, a family can preserve the steadiness that truly supports them. A headstone chosen with care in a color that aligns with the space and a design that respects balance will do what it is meant to do. Protect the sacredness of memory, offer comfort to the living, and contribute to an environment where peace, clarity, and stability can thrive for years to come. Now, before you leave, take a moment to write a positive affirmation in the comments section below. I honor my ancestors with sincerity so that my family may always live in peace and receive abundant blessings. And do not forget to subscribe to Master Quan, Feng Shui for Modern Wealth, to continue receiving practical Feng Shui tips that help your family stay grounded and attract long-lasting good fortune.